Reproduction in organism. Each and every organism can live only for a certain period of time. The period from birth to the natural death of an organism represents its lifespan. Lifespan of a few organisms are given. Several other organisms are drawn for which you should find out their lifespan and write in the space provided. Examine the lifespan of organism represented in figure. Isn't it both interesting and intriguing to note that it may be as short as a few days or as long as few thousand years? Between these two extremes are the lifespan of most other living organisms. You may note that lifespan of organisms are not necessarily correlated with their size. The size of cow and parrots are not very different, yet their lifespan show a wide difference. Similarly, a mango tree has a much shorter lifespan as compared to a peepal tree. Whatever be the lifespan, death of every individual organism is a certainty. That is, no individual is immortal except single cell organism. Why do we say there is no natural death in single cell organism? Given this reality, have you ever wondered how vast number of plant and animal species have existed on earth for several thousands of years? There must be some processes in living organisms that ensure this continuity. Yes, we are talking about reproduction, something that we take for granted. Reproduction is defined as a biological process in which an organism gives rise to a young one offspring similar to itself. The offspring grows, mature, and in turn produce new offspring. Thus, there is a cycle of birth, growth, and death. Reproduction enables the continuity of the species generation after generation. We will study later in chapter 5 principle of inheritance and variation, how genetic variation is created and inherited during reproduction. There is a large diversity in both biological world, and each organism has evolved its own mechanism to multiply and produce offspring. The organism habitat, its internal physiology, and several other factors are collectively responsible for how it reproduces. Based on whether there is a participation of one organism or two in the process of reproduction, it is of two types. When offspring is produced by a single parent with or without the involvement of gamete formation, the reproduction is asexual. When two parents, opposite sex, participate in the reproductive process and also involve fusion of male and female gametes, it is called sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction. In this method, a single individual parent is capable of producing offspring. As a result, the offspring that are produced are not only identical to one another but are also exact copy of their parents. Are these offspring likely to be genetically identical or different? The clone is used to describe such morphologically and genetically similar individuals. Let us see how widespread asexual reproduction is among different groups of organisms. Asexual reproduction is common among single-cell organisms and in plants and animals with relatively simple organization. In protists and Monera, the organism or the parent cell divides by mitosis into two or to give rise to new individual. Thus, in this organism, cell division is itself a mode of reproduction. Many single-celled organisms reproduce by binary fission, where a cell divided into two halves and each rapidly grows into an adult. Example, amoeba, paramecium. In yeast, the division is unequal and small buds are produced that remain attached initially to the parent cell, which eventually get separated and mature into new yeast organism cell. Under unfavorable conditions, the amoeba withdraws its pseudopodia and secretes a three-layered hard covering or cyst around itself. This phenomenon is termed as encystation. When favorable condition returns, the encysted amoeba divides by multiple fission and produces many minute amoeba or pseudopodiospores. The cyst wall bursts out. The spores are divided in the surrounding medium to grow up into many amoeba. This phenomenon is known as sporulation. Member of kingdom fungi and simple plants such as algae reproduce through special asexual reproductive structure. The most common of these structures are zoospores that usually are microscopic motile structure. Other common asexual reproductive structure are conidia, penicillium, birds, hydra, and gemmules sponge. You have learned about vegetative reproduction in plants in class 11. What do you think? Is vegetative reproduction also a type of asexual reproduction? Why do you say so? Is the term clone applicable to offspring formed by vegetative reproduction? While in animals and other simple organisms the term asexual is used unambiguously, in plant the term vegetative reproduction is frequently used in plant. The unit of vegetative propagation such as runner, rhizome, shaka, tuber, offset, bulb are all capable of giving rise to new offspring. These structures are called vegetative propagules. Obviously, since the formation of these structures does not involve two parents, the process involved is asexual. In some organisms, If the body breaks into distinct pieces, fragments, each fragment grows into an adult capable of producing offspring. Hydra. This is also a mode of asexual reproduction called fragmentation. You must have heard about the skulls of water bodies or about the terror of Bengal. This is nothing but the aquatic plant water hyacinth, which is one of the most invasive weeds found growing wherever there is standing water. It drains oxygen from the water, which leads to death of fishes. You will learn about more in the chapter 13 and 14. You may find it interesting to know that this plant was introduced in India because of its beautiful flowers and shapes of leaves. Since it can propagate vegetatively at a phenomenal rate and spread all over the water body in a short period of time, it is very difficult to get rid of them. Are you aware of how plants like potato, sugarcane, banana, ginger, dahlia are cultivated? Have you seen small plant emerging from the buds called eye of the potato tuber from the rhizomes of banana and ginger? When you carefully try to determine the site of origin of the new plantlet in the plant listed above, you will notice that they invariably arises from the nodes present in the modified stem of this plant. When the nodes come in contact with damp soil or water, they produce roots and new plant. Similarly, adventitious buds arise from the notches present at the margin of leaves of biophyllum. This ability is fully exploited by gardeners and farmers for commercial propagation of such plants. It is interesting to note that asexual reproduction is the common method of reproduction in organisms that have a relatively simple organization like algae and fungi, and that they shift to sexual method of reproduction just before the onset of the adverse condition. Find out how sexual reproduction enables these organisms to survive during unfavorable conditions. Why is sexual reproduction favored under such conditions? Asexual, vegetative as well as sexual modes of reproduction are exhibited by the higher plants. On the other hand, only sexual mode of reproduction is present in most of the animals. Sexual reproduction involves formation of male and female gametes either by same individual or by different individual of the opposite sex. These gametes fuse to form zygote, which develop to form the new organism. It is an elaborate, complex and slow process as compared to asexual production. Because of the fusion of male and female gametes, sexual reproduction results in offspring that are not identical to the parents or among themselves. The study of diverse organisms, plant, animal or fungi show that though they differ so greatly in external morphology, internal structure and physiology, when it comes to sexual mode of reproduction, surprisingly they share a similar pattern. Let us first describe what features are common to these diverse organisms. All organisms have to reach a certain stage of growth and maturity in their life before they can reproduce sexually. That period of growth is called the juvenile phase. It is known as vegetative phase in plants. This phase is of favorable duration in different organisms. The end of juvenile or vegetative phase, which marks the beginning of the reproductive phase, can be seen easily in the higher plants when they come to flower. How long does it take for marigold, rice, wheat, coconut, mango plants to come to flower? In some plants where the flowering occurs more than once, what would you call the entire flowering period, juvenile or mature? Observe a few trees in your area. Do they flower during the same month of the year after year? Do you think the availability of fruits like mango, apple, jackfruit, etc. is seasonal? Are there some plants that flower throughout the years and some others that show seasonal flowering? Plants, the annual and biennial types, show clear-cut vegetative plant, the vegetative, reproductive and senescent phases, but in the perennial species it is very difficult to clearly define these phases. A few plants exhibit usual flowering phenomenon. Some of them, such as bamboo species, flower only once in their lifetime, generally after 50 to 100 years, produce large number of fruits and die. Another plant, Strobilanthus kunthiana nilakuranji, flowering once in 12 years. As many of you would know, this plant flowered during September-October 2006. It marks flowering transformed large tract of hilly area in Kerala, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu into blue stretches and attract a large number of tourists. In animals, the juvenile phase is followed by morphological and physiological changes prior to active reproductive behavior. The reproductive phase is also of variable duration in different organisms. Can you list the changes seen in human beings that are indicative of reproductive maturity? Among animals, for example, birds, do they lay eggs all through the year, or it is a seasonal phenomenon? What about other animals like frogs and lizards? You will notice that birds living in nature lay eggs only seasonally. However, birds in captivity, as in poultry farm, can be made to lay eggs throughout the year. In this case, laying eggs is not related to reproduction but is a commercial exploitation for human welfare. The female or placental mammal exhibits cyclical change in the activity of ovaries and accessory duct as well as hormone during the reproductive phases. In non-primates, mammals like cow, sheep, rat, deer, dog, tiger, etc. such cycle changes during reproduction are called oestrus cycle, whereas primates, monkey, apes and humans, it is called menstrual cycle. Many mammals, especially those living in natural wild conditions, exhibit such cycle only during several seasons in their reproductive phases and therefore called seasonal breeders. Many other mammals are reproductively active throughout their reproductive phase and hence are called continuous breeder. That we all grow old if we live long enough is something that we recognize, but what is meant by growing old? The end of reproductive phase can be considered as one of the parameters of synthesis or old age. There are concomitant changes in the body like slowing of metabolism. During this last phase of lifespan, old age ultimately leads to death. In both plant and animal, hormones are responsible for transposition between the three phases. Interaction between hormones and certain environmental factors regulate the reproductive processes and the associated behavioral expression of organism. Events in sexual reproduction. After attainment of maturity, all sexually reproducing organisms exhibit events and processes that have remarkable fundamental similarity, even though the structure associated with sexual reproduction are indeed very different. The events of sexual reproduction, though elaborate and complex, follow a regular sequence. Sexual reproduction is characterized by fusion or fertilization of the male and female gametes the formation of zygote and embryogenesis. For convenience, these sequential events may be grouped into three distinct stages, namely the pre-fertilization, fertilization and post-fertilization event. Pre-fertilization events. This includes all the events of sexual reproduction prior to the fusion of gametes. The two main pre-fertilization events are gametogenesis and gamete transfer. Gametogenesis. As you are already aware, gametogenesis refers to the process of formation of the two types of gametes, male and female. Gametes are haploid cells. In some algae, the two gametes are so similar in appearance that it is not possible to categorize them into male and female gametes. They are hence called homogametes, isogametes. However, in a majority of sexually reproducing organisms, the gametes produced are of two morphologically distinct types, heterogametes. In such organisms, the male gametes is called the antherozoids or sperm, and the female gamete is called the egg or ovum. Sexuality in organism. Sexual reproduction in organisms generally involves the fusion of gametes from two different individuals, but this is not always true. From your recollection of example studied in class 11, can you identify cases where self-fertilization is observed? Of course, citing such example in a plant is easy. Plant may have both male and female reproductive structure in the same plant, bisexual, or on different plants, unisexual. In several fungi and plants, terms such as homothallic and monoecious are used to denote the bisexual condition, and heterothallic and dioecious are the term used to describe unisexual condition. In flowering plant, the unisexual male flower is staminate, that is bearing stamen, while the female pistillate or bearing pistil. In some flowering plant, both male and female flower may be present on same individual or on separate individuals. Dioecious. Some examples of monoecious plant are cucurbits and coconut, and of dioecious plants are papaya and date palm. Name of the type of gametes that are formed in staminate and pistillate flower. But what about animals? Are individual of all species either male or female unisexual, or are there species which possess both reproductive organs bisexual? You probably can make a list of several unisexual animal species: earthworm, sponge, tapeworm, and tea leech. Typical example of bisexual animals that possess both male and female reproductive organs are hermaphrodites. Cockroach is an example of unisexual species. Cell division during gamete formation. Gamete in all heterogametic species are of two types, namely male and female. Gametes are haploid, though the parent plant's body from which they arise may be either haploid or diploid. A haploid parent produces gamete by meiotic division. Does this mean that meiosis never occur in organisms that are haploid? Carefully examine the flow chart of life cycle of algae that you have studied in class 11 to get a suitable answer. Several organisms belonging to Monera, fungi, algae and biophytes have haploid plant body, but in organisms belonging to the pteridophytes, gymnosperm, angiosperm and most of the animals including human beings, the parental body is diploid. It is obvious that meiosis, the reduction division, has to occur if a diploid body has to produce haploid gamete. Chromosome number in myophytes diploid 2n and gametes haploid n of some organisms. Fill in the blank with species. Human being 46, 23, housefly 12, rat 20, dog 78, fruit fly, apple, rice, maize, butterfly, onion. In diploid organism, specialized cell called meiosis gamete, a mother cell undergo meiosis. At the end of meiosis, only one set of chromosome gets incorporated into each gamete. Carefully study table and fill in the diploid and haploid chromosome number of organisms. Is there any relationship in the number of chromosomes of meiocytes and gametes? Gamete transfer. After their formation, male and female gametes must be physically brought together to facilitate fusion fertilization. Have you ever wondered how the gamete meet? In a majority of organisms, male gamete is motile and female gamete is stationary. Exceptions are a few fungi and algae in which both types of gametes are motile. There is a need for a medium through which the male gametes move. In several simple plants like algae, biophytes and pteridophytes, water is the medium through which this gamete transfer takes place. A large number of male gametes, however, fail to reach the female gametes. To compensate this loss of male gametes during transport, the number of male gametes produced is several thousand times the number of female gametes produced. In seed plants, pollen grains are carriers of male gametes and ovule have the egg. Pollen grains produced in anther therefore have to be transferred to the stigma before it can lead to fertilization. In bisexual self-fertilization plant, example peas transfer to pollen grain to stigma is relatively easy as anther and stigma are located close to each other. Pollen grain soon after they are shed comes in contact with stigma, but in cross-pollination plant, including dioecious plant, a specialized event called pollination facilitates transfer of pollen grains to the stigma. Pollen grains germinate on the stigma and the pollen tubes carrying the male gamete reach the ovule and discharge male gametes near the egg. In dioecious animals, since male and female gametes are formed in different individuals, the organism must evolve a special mechanism for gamete transfer. Successful transfer and coming together of gametes is essential for the most critical event in sexual reproduction, the fertilization. Fertilization, the most vital event of sexual reproduction, is perhaps the fusion of gametes. This process, called syngamy, results in the formation of diploid zygote. The term fertilization is also often used for this process. The terms syngamy and fertilization are frequently used though interchangeably. What would happen if syngamy does not occur? However, it has to be mentioned here that in some organisms like rotifers, honeybees, and even some lizards and birds, the female gamete undergoes development to form new organism without fertilization. This phenomenon is called parthenogenesis. Where does syngamy occur? In most aquatic organisms such as a majority of algae and fishes as well as amphibians, syngamy occurs in the external medium, that is outside the body of the organism. This type of gametic fusion is called external fertilization. Organisms exhibiting external fertilization show great synchrony between the sexes and releases a large number of gametes into the surrounding medium, water, in order to enhance the chance of syngamy. This happens in the bony fishes and frogs, where a large number of offspring are produced. A major disadvantage is that offspring are extremely vulnerable to predators, threatening their survival up to adulthood. In many terrestrial organisms belonging to fungi, higher animals such as reptiles, birds, mammals, and in a majority of plants, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperm, and angiosperm, syngamy occurs inside the body of the organism, hence the process is called internal fertilization. In all these organisms, eggs is formed inside the female body where they fuse with the male gametes. In organisms exhibiting internal fertilization, the male gametes is motile and has to reach the egg in order to fuse with it. In this event, though number of sperm produced is very large, there is a significant reduction in number of eggs produced in seed plant. However, the non-motile male gametes are carried to female gametes by pollen tube. Post-fertilization event. Events in sexual reproduction after the formation of zygote are called post-fertilization event. Zygote formation of diploid zygote is universal in all sexually reproducing organisms. In organisms with external fertilization, zygote is formed in the external medium, usually water, whereas in those exhibiting internal fertilization, zygote is formed inside the body of the organism. Further development of zygote depends on the type of life cycle the organism has and the environment it is exposed to. In organisms belonging to the fungi and algae, zygote develop a thick wall that is resistant to desiccation and damage. It undergoes a period of rest before germination. In organisms with haplontic life cycle, as you have read in class 11, zygote divide by meiosis to form haploid spores that grows into haploid individual. Consult your class 11 book and find out what kind of development takes place in the zygote in organism with diplontic and haplodiplontic life cycle. Zygote is the vital link that ensures continuity of species between organisms of one generation and the next. Every sexually reproducing organism, including human beings, begin life as a single cell, the zygote. Embryogenesis. Embryogenesis refers to the process of development of embryo from the zygote. During embryogenesis, zygote undergoes cell division, mitosis, and cell differentiation. While cell division increases the number of cells in the developing embryo, cell differentiation helps group of cells to undergo certain modification to form specialized tissues and organs to form an organism. You have studied about the process of cell division and differentiation in the previous classes. Animals are categorized into oviparous and viviparous based on whether the development of zygote takes place outside the body of the female parents or inside the, that is whether they lay fertilized or unfertilized eggs or give birth to young ones. The oviparous animal like reptiles and birds, the fertilized eggs covered by hard calcareous cells are laid in a safe place in the environment. After a period of incubation, young ones hatch out. On the other hand, in viviparous animals, majority of mammals, including human beings, the zygote develop into a young one inside the body of the female organism. After attaining a certain stage of growth, the young ones are delivered out of the body of the female organism. Because of proper embryonic care and protection, the chance of survival of young one is greater in viviparous organisms. In flowering plant, the zygote is formed inside the ovule. After fertilization, the sepals, petals and stamen of the flower wither and fall off. Can you name a plant in which the sepals remain attached? The pistil, however, remains attached to the plant. The zygote develop into the embryo and ovule develop into seed. The ovary develops into the fruits which develop a thick wall called pericarp that is protective in function. After dispersal, seed germinate under favorable condition to produce new plant.